everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with the one and only Hoda Kotb. The Today Show co-anchor is also a New York Times bestselling author and is here today to talk about her latest children's book, You Are My Happy, about showing gratitude for the things in life, both big and small, that bring us happiness. Please help me welcome Hoda Kotb.
Thank you, Brittany. Brittany, I'm just going to start off by saying I'm so proud of you.
Oh my God.
I mean, Brittany worked with Katie Crook many years ago, and there was something about watching you sit there, read that intro flawlessly, and I just can't wait to see what happens with you.
Wow.
I see a long runway. That's what I see.
Thank you, Hoda.
Thank you.
I'm a little caught off guard. That means so much coming from you, too. I mean, I'm a huge fan of yours and everything that you have done and will continue to do, including this book.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it is the sweetest book, and I know it was inspired by your own little sweetness, Haley Joy.
Haley, again, it's like sometimes when I sit with what's happened in my life in the last 2 years, I kind of still have to pinch myself because I thought that this idea, this dream of having a little girl was beyond what I was going to be able to do in my life. And it reminded me, I think we all hold like little secrets inside, secrets we don't say out loud to anybody. We just keep them in because we know that we don't think they can come true. Why would you say you want to be a singer? Because your friends might say, no, Brittany's actually not going to, no, Brittany, not you. Or the idea that I would say out loud that I wanted to be a mom sounded crazy at my age. And I remembered thinking like, well, I don't get everything, and that's okay. Like, God gave me a lot of great things. Why am I going to complain about not being able to have that? And then I just couldn't like hold it in anymore. You got to whisper it. Just even to yourself and then out loud. And she came into my life, and I think sometimes it just reminded me, like, just say it out loud. Say your secret, and then you never know what'll come as a result.
But that journey, I think, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And when I was doing some research, you said that this book was inspired by your nightly routine with her, and the fact that you can value and honor those small little things so much more.
Brittany, the fact that I get to have a nighttime routine with Haley blows my mind. Like, I do the same drill every night, and I didn't know if I would be good at being I had no idea if I was going to be good at it, and I didn't even know if I was good at routine, quite frankly, because these jobs, because you're in it too, you're here and you're there, and you don't know if a daily rhythm, what would that feel like? And all of a sudden, every night, it was her dinner, a bath, take her in a room, put lotion, her diaper on, her bottle, a book, and bed. And every day I looked forward to it. And I would put her on her changing table, and I would look in her eyes, and she was, just since I got her, and I would say to her, Haley, you know what my favorite time of the day is? And she would look at me, and I would say, right now. And I would put her down, and I did it every day for 2 years. And then about a week and a half ago, I was putting her down, and Haley, I was just doing the same thing. I said, Haley, you know what my favorite time of the day is? And she looked up at me, and she goes, Mama, right now. I was like, oh, my God. Literally, but it's in that moment, and it reminded me that life is about the tiny things, like the things you have to be grateful for at the end, the thing that we wrote the book about. And when I say we, it's like Haley. It's about the little things that make you happy. And I think sometimes we get caught up even in grown-ups, like the vacation, or, oh my God, the graduation, or the big day, the moment, the promotion. And all those things are awesome. But those are punctuation marks in your life.
Do you keep a gratitude journal yourself? Because as I was reading this, it feels like a kind of daily gratitude journal where you kind of just get to reflect on, there's so much madness in the world, but like these are the small things I'm just happy for, and like what a wonderful life to live.
Yes, you know what? I started keeping a gratitude journal because I watched a TED Talk one day, and some lady, or maybe it was a guy, who can remember? But anyway, whoever it was on this TED Talk said, if you do these handful of things, you're going to be happy. And I said, okay. So I was like, all right, I'll try. They said every morning you should pray or meditate. You should do some form of exercise. You should write down 3 things that you are grateful for. You should write one amazing thing that happened to you the day before, and you should do one random act of kindness every single day. And they say if you do those things every single day, you start feeling it. And I got to tell you, it like takes your mind away from, oh my gosh, I've got this at work, and oh, I have an interview, I don't know if I'm ready, to 3 awesome moments. And all of a sudden, your eyes are bright in the morning. You know, but that, you're right. That's the bookend.
The vibe I got,
yeah.
And I was like, what a cool thing to start for kids young, is to be looking at the positive and to be grateful for the small things in their lives. I think it's a habit that if you start young, hopefully it'll help them through some of those hard times.
Well, it's also, I think raising a young girl is daunting, because I keep thinking, like, I want her to be strong, but I want her to be gentle. Like, I want her to be self-assured, but I want her to be humble. Like, I want her to be smart, but I want her to not realize how smart she is. So, you know, I want all these things for her. And I keep looking at her and I think to myself, like, you know, I hope like all the love in the world is enough for her to like send her on her way. Yeah.
I think it will be.
You do.
I would love to have you as a mom.
I'll be your mom.
So let's talk about the process of writing the book. Did it just kind of pour out of you, or was it something that you worked on for a little bit? Because the rhymes are pretty perfect.
The rhymes are cute.
Can I tell you my favorite?
What?
It made me tear up.
What?
It said, "What made us happy all day through? Let's count those things. Just me and you.
Just me and you. Just me and you."
It's so nice.
Just me and you. I know. I always look at Haley and I think I feel that so strongly. I think the process is fun because it's simple in a way. Because they are all the little things that Haley and I love about life, and the things she's kind of showing me again, things I take for granted. You know how kids are. They're like, all of a sudden she like points at an escalator and she's like, "Oh, Mama, look." I'm like, "Oh my God, the stairs move. It is amazing." But it's like everything she looks at. You know, I mean, last night, you know, like the sun setting. She's like, "Mama, sunset." So the sun goes down and we always do the bath and then we go to the window for the moon. Like, and I see her eyes scanning the sky and then she sees it. She's like, "Oh." She makes me appreciate the tiniest things in life, and sometimes, like, I think about all the things I used to care about, whatever they were. Isn't that fun?
You even remember?
I don't remember, but I think that Haley's a couple of things. She's like the great eraser of pain. She just comes in somehow and just wipes the slate clean. And she also just showed me a dimension of life I didn't know existed. You know, it's funny, I was just signing books somewhere. I was just talking to these guys backstage, and I was signing books, and some kids were coming up, and a mom would say, oh, that's Billy. He's really shy. He's just shy. And, you know, a lot of people, and this little boy walks up, and I thought, oh, my gosh, we don't even know we're labeling our kids so early. She's the shy one. She's the outgoing one. He's the funny one. And I was thinking about, like, all these things I want to try with Haley. Like, I don't want to do that, but you can see it happening. I go, oh, she gets wild, and all of a sudden she thinks she's like a crazy person. So I'm trying hard to do it right, but God only, who knows?
Yeah, you don't want the wild, self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, don't be wild.
I know, exactly.
On that note, have you thought about expanding the family anymore?
Yeah, I have thought about that. Joel and I have talked about that. You know, Haley will have such a unique life, and I sort of want her to have someone with her. You know, it's weird when I don't know what it's like to have older parents, and that, you know, there are concerns that obviously I had going into it. But I remembered, my dad passed away when I was in college, and I had him for those 20 years, and that cemented who I am. So it reminded me, like, some people have their parents for 40 years, for 50 years, for longer, but I feel like I got a lot from him. So given that we have kind of unique circumstances with Haley, I've thought about having a sibling for her. Yeah, I have. Yeah. We have.
That's cool. You don't have to say anymore.
I felt pressure. Yeah. I don't know why.
I want you to be comfortable here. Just imagine I'm Kathie Lee. No big deal. Just like chatting.
You have no wine.
Chatting.
This is not real.
I can get some Hoda. I thought about it, but I didn't want to pressure you to drink.
There would have been no pressure at all.
Yeah, on that note, we know that Kathie Lee is
Oh, my word.
signing off.
Is that the weirdest?
It's the weirdest. I think America just loves you two together, but I'm thankful for the time we had.
Yeah, you know what? Kathie Lee kind of stepped into my life she leapt in with both feet. And I was someone doing stories for Dateline. I had known Kathie Lee from watching her on TV, and I could not believe that I was going to be hosting a show with someone who was really kind of legendary in the talk show space. And not only was I kind of like just shocked that that was even happening. Like in the middle of a show, I would look at her and I'd think, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Kathie Lee. Like my sister would call me, how is that even possible? I said, I don't know. And then in a blink, 11 years go by. And what struck me about Kath is, unlike anybody else on television, we've watched her go through every phase of life. Many watched her meet her husband. We watched her have her children. We watched her raise her children. We watched when her father passed. We watched when her husband passed. We watched as she became an empty nester. And then her mom passed away. And now we're watching her through this other phase of life. And I don't think there's anybody who we've seen go through everything. And no matter what happens, Kathie Lee is like, she's a doer. And I remember one of the interns at NBC came up to me and he said, when my mom needs to get her courage up, she always says, oh, I got to go get my Kathie Lee on, because she has the moxie, and she's gonna get something done. So this is it's really bittersweet for me. I mean, I try not to even think about April 5th. It's coming, and that's her last day. She's got plans. She's making music and movies and doing stuff, but it will leave a big hole. She taught me about TV and just how to be free. And yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's a hard thing to do, is to be yourself in front of the camera.
Yes.
And I think that's what people loved, is that when we watch you two together, it feels like you bring out the best in each other.
Well, she just launches grenades. I was like, are we fired? I mean, that was usually because she doesn't, there's something about her, and it can happen at any time. I mean, I still remember one of my strongest memories of her blowing my life up on television was Valentine's Day, and she was like, oh, we were in the makeup room. I said, oh, I hate Valentine's Day. She was like, why? I said, oh, I met my ex-husband on Valentine's Day. And literally my divorce papers arrived in the mail on Valentine's Day. So I just hated the day. Anyway, so we get out on the set, and it's all decorated with flowers and hearts and stuff. And I was like, hey, everybody, good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. And she goes, not for you. And I was like, oh, geez. Oh, my God. Not here. Please. But she just looks at you with that honest face like, what? Well, that's what you said. And so, what I realized is being real is more important than being right. Being real is better than being perfect. She taught me that.
So we have Jenna Hager coming in to take that seat.
Yeah.
What is something, I mean, we've gotten to know her.
Yes.
But what is something that you're excited for viewers to get to learn or know about Jenna?
She is, it's funny, she's lived her life, I think, in the spotlight kind of, but she is more every woman than a lot of people I've ever known. When we announced her, Kath and I were sitting on the set, and Jenna was walking through the door, and I remembered looking over it there, and Jenna looked like a little girl. Like I could picture her at 6 years old, and she came running through the door, and she said, oh my God, I'm so excited, I don't know what to say. She is, she's smart, she is funny, but more than that, she's real, and she doesn't mind being vulnerable and a mess and herself and all that stuff. We actually just came from a meeting of our staff with Jenna and me, and I was so just blown away by how she wants to take care of everyone on our staff. She's just a cool person, and she's fun. She likes to have fun. So I think, we're not taking the wine away, okay? There were some requests about that from the 52nd floor, but we said, no, thank you. Thank you.
Why would they request that?
Why would they want that? No.
They're missing the whole point.
Come on, the party is going to continue.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a lot of fun with her.
And since I have you here, I have more of a general journalism question for you,
Yeah.
because this is a good, rare opportunity for me.
Why not?
With all these big interviews going on with predators.
Yes.
And I've been having a lot of conversations with my friends, and they're like, well, we shouldn't give people like that an opportunity to speak. Why are we giving them a platform? And I always feel like I had this J school training, and so it's been the first time I've really combated that, but what do you see the role of journalism, just making sure that they're still objective about things, even when it seems like we know what the
Yeah.
answer is.
I think part of it is, I think something weird has happened in journalism lately. There's been some kind of sense that if you sit with someone, you agree with someone. That is not the case. I mean, I've interviewed people in Rikers Island, at Angola prison. I've interviewed people who have been, people overseas who've done God knows what. There's nothing here that says, I agree with you. This is an interview space. I mean, I've interviewed child abusers, and some people are like, well, why would you do that? Well, these are people who have done some horrible things. Some people want to know why, what's the purpose, how did it affect the families, like what happened. But I think people have turned it into something it isn't. And I think you should, one of the things they always taught me, especially at Dateline, was challenge your premise. Whatever your premise is. If you think this, just challenge it. So if there is someone who is a victim, we've learned, I've interviewed victims before who turn out not to be victims, like challenge everybody, but do it in a respectful way. So I think for some reason, lately, it's like, oh, you sat with them, well, you must agree. It's like, oh, God, no, I don't agree, actually. And I think we also have to remember as journalists, we come with our lives as we sit here and do an interview. I try so hard to be objective, but sometimes you can't help it. You have your luggage. You can try everything in the world, but it's part of you. I think it's good that if you have some kind of issue, you raise it and you bring it up. And look, we're not perfect. But I think the whole, journalists, they're all, the enemy is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to ask you that question,
Yes.
because I do think we still need to be objective, and that doesn't endorse anything.
No,
but it's
of course not.
It's just something, it's like more and more conversations around media happening lately, and as it continues to evolve and change.
I know. And you look, we are imperfect, but we try every day. Every day.
Well, I know the audience has a couple of questions for you.
How exciting.
So who do we have first? Back here?
Hi.
Hey, Hoda.
How you
Congrats
doing?
on your good. How are you?
Good, hon.
Congrats on your second book.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You've had such a remarkable career. I mean, anchoring the Today Show, being a successful author, and of course, being a mom. And I was wondering, slipped my mind what I was going to ask you. Oh,
That's
yes.
okay.
What other goals do you want to accomplish in your life? And is there a guiding principle or two that you follow in your own life that you could share with us?
Thank you. That was a really nice question. I think family, I think I did my life a little out of order, but I'm more and more valuing my time with my family. I think I might have missed that along the way. I don't regret my choices because it brought me to exactly where I am, and I'm so over the moon. I would have never imagined that at 50, I'm 54 now, but at 52, the best part of my life would have been starting. Like, who would have ever guessed that? I was happy to get the Today Show, to be asked to anchor the Today Show. Like, that's, wasn't even in my imagination. But because I had Haley first, I understood I just understood my priorities. And I don't think I've ever been in sync until now. It took this long to figure it out. I was work, work, work. Everybody rode sidecar. The guys rode sidecar, they were like, hey, it's our anniversary. I'm like, yep, I got a story. I was that person because I was so driven. I kept thinking, I didn't come this far to stop. And now all of a sudden, I get it. It's like, oh my gosh, so I guess my goals are personal. I'm happy for all the things that I've gotten to accomplish, through work and stuff. And I think something else I'd like to do at some point is I want to open a summer camp. I think I'd love that. I don't know why. I just would. I want my family to hang out there, and I want us to just enjoy it for kids who can't maybe afford a camp. I feel like that would be it's a little thing I want to do. Thanks.
Did you ever go to summer camp?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you have your own memories that you want to...
There was something about being out in nature and how it shapes you and how you kind of mature through that process and how kids are free, and you're all on a level playing field. And I was thinking it would be cool to bring in big names to motivate kids. And sometimes you just need one person to believe in you. Just one. Who was your one? Who was your one?
Katie Couric.
Katie Couric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pretty good one. to
Yeah,
have,
I was
but
going to say, yeah.
literally, I was in Nebraska before that, and
Isn't that amazing?
everything sort of snowballed after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like
about for
find
you?
your one. Mine was the first news director who ever hired me. It was a guy, I'd been rejected 27 times, literally to my face before him. And his name was Stan Sandroni. And he was in a small map dot station in Greenville, Mississippi, and he hired me. And against all odds, you know, he was I don't know why he did, but I thank God he did.
You just needed a shot.
Just one, man.
Just
We all
one
need
shot.
one.
I love that.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, Hoda.
Hi.
I have an online question.
Okay.
So what's your favorite thing about being a mom?
My favorite thing about being a mom is everything. Every single thing that I am, because I'm experiencing it all for the first time. I think it's the feeling of holding her. I didn't know what that felt like to have a baby in your arms who you're kind of the most important thing to her. I didn't know what it felt like to have someone cry when I left a room. I mean, that had never happened in my life. And I was like, oh my God. I don't know that I have ever loved anyone as much as I love her. And I don't think I've ever been loved like that before. Yeah, I think it's all those things. The fact that I get to experience it at all. And I had a conversation with Sandra Bullock, who was also an older mom. And I remembered before I adopted, I asked her, I said, is it possible? She said, let me tell you something. Families come in all shapes and sizes. She said, there is no box. She said, do not put yourself in a box. I'm having the best time of my life right now. And she said, and I'm going to raise good kids who are going to be solid. And I just got motivated. And I said, oh my gosh, there's a path for me.
You are so in love with your little girl. Like the
so
way
in
you
love.
talk is just so beautiful. And it makes me love this book even more because the emotion that you're conveying right now, I can read in the words and see in the little illustrations. And it's just so beautiful. So thank you for writing it.
Thank you, Brittany.
And if you guys want to get your own copy, You Are My Happy is available now wherever books are sold. Please put your hands together for Hoda Kotb.
You guys, thank you.